Hello, this is James with Lot Hill. Today I'm going to go over our new time tracking website, Tickadee.com. Tickadee is a simple website used for teams of people or individuals who really just need to track time for whether it's employees or projects, students, that type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go through Tickadee.com and just show you what it's all about. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our sign up page. And on this page is where you would go read a little bit more about the different features. Tickety allows you to have unlimited user profiles, unlimited time tracking. You can set up different groups for teams or departments or projects, that type of thing. Offer free support, as well as the ability to monitor user presence. And what we mean by that is you can see who's here by running our Who's Here report. And that's the main screen of Tickety.com there. Our Tickety application also comes with the option to integrate a fingerprint scanner or the RFID badge readers. So if you've got some badges or some fobs laying around, our RFID scanner will likely integrate with those right out of the box. So we do have that available if needed as well. You can generate timesheets. You can go through and set up restricted access. So if you're thinking, online isn't really for me because I don't want my folks clocking in with their phone, well, you can restrict that. You can say anybody from this certain IP address on the internet can access the system and everybody else is denied. You can also set up specific users to allow access from anywhere, like a manager profile, or the owner. They want to be able to get in on the fly wherever they're at. Just want to check it out. And you can also use any browser, any device, whether it's a phone, a laptop, a tablet, PC, Mac, whatever you're using. It's a website. You'll be able to get there and use it securely over the internet. It's only $9 a month, and that's not $9 per user. It's $9.99 per account. So if you've got 50 users in here, checking in, checking out, running reports, that type of thing, doesn't matter. Still $10. If you've got 100, the same price. At some point, there's a tipping point. You're going to have so many employees in here. If you're a larger corporation, you're going to have so many employees in here that it might be cumbersome to have that many employees in there. So, you may want to split it out into a separate account for a business in, let's say, Arizona, maybe another business in Texas, that type of thing. You could do one account per state, and you can create a custom alias, and I'll show you that here in a second. The sign-up process is super simple. There's no payment required. You can go through and set up your account. The alias would be, we'll just do Lot Hill for an example here. So if I wanted to set up my company, I would go in and put Lot Hill. You put your company name in, all your contact info, and it will create the profile for you right off of this information. And when you click Create My Account, it will go ahead and set that up for you, and you'll be directed to your dashboard, which is this page here. On the dashboard, you can either clock in or clock out or sign in. Now, the clock in and out, that's driven by your username and password. If you have our integrated application, our Windows application, you can clock in or clock out from that. I'll show you that in a moment. I'm going to switch over to the sign in page, and you'll see your company name here. Mine's Lot Hill Solutions, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to log in with my credentials, and it will bring me to my dashboard. This is just the very initial page, and it says that I'm assigned to development. Apparently that's what I'm doing right now, and I can click clock out. Now, if you have a bunch of users, they can just have this browser open on their own desktop or laptop or whatever, and just click clock in, clock out all day. So if I go ahead and clock out, and it's going to tell me I'm clocked out, and then I can choose an activity. I can say I'm going to go on break, or I'm going to switch over to sales, and then I can clock in. And it's going to say you're now clocked in. So now I'm assigned to sales, and my time is being recorded as being assigned to sales. So I can run a report later and say, okay, well, how many hours did James have for sales? How much did I have for support or development, that type of thing. If I need to change my password, I can do that. And then I'm going to go to settings. This is where you'll usually go first. You've already created your account. Now the first thing you want to do is come in here and say, okay, how am I allocating overtime? You can do 40 hours a week. The starting day of the week. I know some folks, they have Tuesdays. We do Mondays. And then the default time zone. This would be your time zone of your main office. If you have multiple time zones, then you can set that at the user level, and I'll show you that in a moment. For security, you can require a reason when you're adding or editing time entries. So if, say, somebody forgot to clock in and you go in under time entries and manually clock them in, then you can, or you can force the user to enter in a reason. John forgot to clock in, so I'm punching him in. That will just be a note that's added to that particular punch so you can see it later on. And then you can change your alias to your company name if you need to at any time. And then you also have the information as far as when your account's going to expire, when you created it, that type of thing. Or you can, if you're in the trial, you can subscribe using that particular area as well. Now I manage remote access locations. Now these are different locations that you can assign your business to. By default, there are none, so you can clock in from anywhere. If you wanted to restrict people to just your business, you would click that button and then enter in your IP address. You just click the button, hit add, and hit save. There's really nothing to it, and there isn't an option in there to select my IP. So you click that button, and it would autofill your IP address, so you don't have to know it. And you can give it an alias as office or John's home or something like that, home office. You can go in and configure all that. Next, we're going to go over and look at the users. So on the user screen, you can click add to add a new user. You can do, let's see, we'll just go under manager here. This is an account that I created just for testing. We've got a few different things in here. So first name, only last name and email are required. Email is required for password reset reasons. So I would recommend putting that in there. So just in the event your users forget their password, if you guys clock in, clock out with username password, then they can require or request a password reset, and it'll be emailed to them so they can do that. If you're going through and just setting these up and you don't know passwords, that's fine. What you can do is you could say require password reset. So the next time they try to log in, and you can set the password to like 1234 or 1 or whatever, and then require a password reset. So what they would do is they'd say, okay, John, your username is JDoe, your password is 1234. When they go to clock in or they go to sign in, if you check require password reset, it's going to ask them to reset their password. So you don't know what it is, but they do. Different permissions, you can allow them to sign in, you can allow them to clock in or out, you can grant them access to clock in or out, sign in from anywhere. So that would override the remote access locations. So if you have some of those set up, this would override that, and they would be able to do anything from anywhere. And then you can allow them to view timesheets, reports, manage users, settings, or times, and then just activate or deactivate the account. So a few different permissions there. If this particular person, say they were in Texas, your business is in New Mexico or Oklahoma or something like that, then you can set up this particular user to be in that time zone. Say they're on the East Coast or what have you, then if they log into the system or they clock in and clock out, their times would be displayed as, per that time zone. You can assign people to different groups. So if you wanted to allocate times to development or sales, or maybe it's a lunch break or just a regular break, that type of thing, go ahead and do that. You can assign different pay rates and overtime rates. You can add and manage more groups through the manage group link there. That will take you to this page, and this is where you can add in different groups, edit groups, remove, that type of thing. If you're going to delete a group, then that would move all the times associated to that back to a default group. Which would be just, it's going to show up on the reports as default group. So keep that in mind. If you're going to decommission a group, it might be better just to rename it to something else. That way it's not used. But that's the groups. And then finally we have the time entry. So when you clock in, clock out, it would keep track and record all the different entries for your account. And you can filter these by particular person. You can filter it by a particular group. So if I wanted to see all the different development times that I did, or a person does, then I could do that. I can choose different times entry methods. So if I wanted to see, okay, what times did I do with the keyboard? That would be the application. I manually entered my information. Or show me all the times where I did a scanner or I used the portal. The portal is just the main screen where you see both the clock in, clock out. So if you click clock in or out, this would be your portal. And back here to the main screen, this is your dashboard. So this is where that information, that's where that type comes from. So on here, if you see, let me reset this to all. So you see all the different entry methods. You've got scanner, dashboard, that type of thing. So you can tell where somebody has been clocking or clocking out from, which entry or which method they're using. And then let's see, clock in, and you can see only clocked in only, or clocked out only, or all. And then these settings do get saved. So as soon as you hit search, it's going to save those for next time. So if you close down the browser, exit out of the application, whatever, next time you come in here to run this search, it's going to save these settings. Same for the reports. And speaking of, there are 3 different reports as of right now. There's the Who's Here report. This will show you who's clocked in. There's the user list. This will show you everybody in the system. And then there is the timesheets. Now, timesheets is an interesting piece, because if a user does not have access to reports, go here, if you don't have access to reports, and you save that, when you click on reports, the only thing you're going to see is timesheets. Okay. Now, if you restrict access to view timesheets, the only thing that user is going to have access is my timesheets. So that means that they can only run their timesheet for themselves. So they will not be able to see anybody else's time. So that's something that you could do. You could allow them to clock in and out. You could allow them to sign in, and that's it. And if they only have those 2 permissions, they can clock in, they can clock out, and then they can also come in here and view their own time. But that would be it. So that's beneficial if you want people to run their times by themselves, so you don't have to do it, and then they can sign off on it. So there's a few different options. There's the payroll. I'll show you a view of that. This is the summary mode. If you want to do detail to see all the different punches that were made, you can do that. Scroll down and it'll show all the different times and everything with totals at the bottom. You can show earnings, or you can not show earnings. And this will just be a total of hours. And let's see, if I run by name and then group, this would allow me to see all the different times for a particular person broken down by group. So sales, I had 0 time there. Support, and maybe there's some development in there. This is a particular time range, so let me expand that a little bit. Let's go to 12. Run that again. So there should be some, so there's development, breaks, all that kind of stuff. So you can break it down that way. And if you do summary, it's obviously a shorter version. Just shows the different times. And you can do that for everybody or a particular person. So since this is my timesheet, it only shows my name on there. If you wanted to go back, and I'll do this just for sake of video here, go back and check both of these, save, and now you can see under reports, timesheets, and we'll do name group, and we'll turn that back to everyone, and you'll be able to see for me, for manager, and for test. So there's different groups. And you can do it to flip-flop as well. So you can say, okay, for certain groups, who performed the clock in, clock out. So for the default group, and I was telling you about this earlier, the default group is where you don't have a group assigned. Then that will show the hours under default group. Break looks like I'm the only one that did that. I'm the only one that did this. Under sales, there's manager and me. Same for support. So you can see it will break it down a couple different ways. This was the standard in time drop, and now we've added it to where it does the reverse, so it'll flip-flop. You can select only specific groups if you wanted to, that type of thing. I know I've made mention of our application that we can use to integrate with fingerprint scanners. So here is the Tickety time clock application for Windows. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. This will allow you to clock in or clock out using a Windows type application, so you don't have to use the browser. And you can maximize this to fit your entire screen, whether it's on a tablet or that type of thing. So if you wanted to do that, you certainly can. Look something like this. You can set up different employees with the fingerprint reader, because this does support that. I'm going to go ahead and log into options. Now, this application pulls all the permissions from Tickety. So if I go into here, I can see that I have access to manage settings. That's key for this particular application. So I'm going to go ahead and, I know the manager one does too, so I'll do manager and password. Let's see. So a couple different things. You can run Tickety time clock when the computer starts. You can have a check for updates, require a password to close this program. There's some timeouts here as well, and in here's where you can specify the scanner. So I'm going to use the digital persona fingerprint scanner. Require use of scanner when you clock in or clock out. Right now you can see I'm not doing that, so I have the option to use credentials, or I can use the scanner. You don't have to do both. So I'll have that. And if you want to change your account, you can do that as well. Or which account it's pointed to. Right now it's pointed to the Lot Hill. So we also support the RFID badge readers. So I will go ahead and close that screen. No, I don't want to save my changes. And then I'm just going to use the fingerprint scanner to clock out because I believe I'm currently clocked in. So there's that. I'm clocked out. And it will time out after 4 seconds. I think I had it set to, so that will go away. And if I want to clock in again, you recall I was associated to a couple different groups here. So you can see that I'm presented with which group do I want to use. I'm going to say development, so I'll double click on that. I'm now clocked in, and that'll go away after a couple seconds. So now the next person can come and clock in. Now, there you have it. I'm clocked out. And clock back in. We'll do support. So I can allocate time to any of those groups that I'm assigned to. And to enroll the fingerprint scanner, very simple. You go to Manage, Employees, and then sign in with your manager profile. And you can choose all the different users within your particular account. I'm going to say Manager. Let's do Test. And then enroll fingerprints. I'll bring up this screen. You just simply choose a finger, scan it 4 times, and you're done. And that's it for enrolling a fingerprint. And that's been uploaded to the website. So any computer that uses this application for your account will pull that fingerprint string. It's basically a hash. It's not the image or anything like that. So it's a secure hash, a secure string that basically stores that information. So the next time you go to clock in or clock out, it will do a match to see if that is the correct one. If it is, it will allow you to clock in or clock out. So very simple, very easy to do. And if you wanted, for whatever reason, to launch the Tickety website from this application, you can do that by going to File and then Open Online Portal. And it will bring you right to your portal page, which is this guy here. So that's it for Tickety Time Clock. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. We can be reached at 855-LOT-HILL or product.support@lothill.com. Otherwise, you can always reach us through the Contact Us page at tickety.com. Thank you for listening.